Is the United States in doom and gloom or what? Because the economy is going crazy. It almost seems as if millennials like myself can barely, if not will ever, be able to afford a house. I mean, on top of grocery prices, you can't even go to McDonald's and get a meal without having to spend $11, let alone the big three: student loans, housing, and then also just our expenses being almost 3 times the amount as the boomers before us had to pay. For real, is it set up to where we'll actually be able to buy a house as a millennial, pay it off for our family, and leave it behind, or will we be renting forever? What's up, guys? It's your boy Swan Belcher. This is me taking action. I'm a full-time real estate investor, and I feel it for my tenants and for my friends. Realistically, I know that I'm one of the smaller percentages of people who actually have more than just one property. At this point, we've bought hundreds of properties, but the more and more I share my story to my friends, they almost seem to have the exact opposite story. And since homecoming this last week, I've really got a chance to kind of hear what they said and I need to get proof of this, because the world that I live in, I mean, I buy a property every week, but hearing some of my friends' story, it's like, are we really able to? I mean, I'm talking to 25 to 35-year-olds. Are we really able to afford housing? Like, seriously. Because at this point, I really think it might be an issue that we need to address. It might be a serious problem. Because the first thing that I've noticed that everybody complained about was student debt. Now, I still have student debt. My wife still has student debt. And I mean, thank God it's under $100,000 now. But when we first got out of college, it was more than $100,000. Why was it so easy for us to get a loan for $100,000 with no job? What happened? Because realistically, most of the people that are coming, out of college don't have a degree, let alone have a job that's setting them up. Because if we're paying, I think the average right now, the average student loan payment is about $450, upwards to about $600. If we're paying $450 a month for student loans for 30 years, realistically, that takes away from the quality of life that we're gonna have. Because $450 could be going towards shoes, clothes, water bill, Duke Energy, kids, driving a car that actually works, and also there's interest accrued on these student loans. So, it might look like $30,000 now, but over time, it's really gonna be 3 or 4 times that amount. So you're gonna pay almost $100,000 in your $30,000 student loans, almost like you were paying a mortgage. You see what I'm saying? That's a real big problem. Because on top of that, I was doing some research and I was trying to figure out, well, how much do people make after they graduate? Let's say if you actually chose a major, you actually went through college. Shout out to all of my fifth-year seniors out there. You actually graduated from college. How much money are people making? And US Today was saying that the average person's after 5 years, between graduating and 5 years after, the average graduate is making $58,000. Now, if you do some math on that, by the way, this is before taxes, this is before your health insurance, and this is before your 401k, that's $4,800 a month. And now, yes, this is enough to actually go through the process of getting qualified for a loan. I totally agree with that. At that point, if you're making $58,000, yes, you can probably get qualified for a loan. But you'll have to go through of getting those defaulty loans from your student loans caught up. You'll have to go through and get some of that credit card debt as well, so you won't have a bunch of savings during that time, and more so, $4,800 will qualify you, for a house mortgage payment of $1,500 to $1,800. Now, if you guys start to do the math with me, at today's rates of 18%, Buying a house to be able to afford a $1,500 mortgage, right? Because we got to consider that inside of a mortgage, you're going to have to pay principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Reasonably is about $170,000 to a $200,000 house. Okay, that'll be what you can afford as far as a mortgage. So if your mortgage is $1,500, your student loan payments are $450 to $600. That's almost taking up half of your income for the month, and we haven't included taxes, we haven't included utilities, we haven't included your car note, or just you living your average normal daily life. Now, realistically, this is a huge problem because the median home price is not even $170,000 to $200,000. All right, I was going through and I was reading an article that said that the average home prices in 2022 was $540,000, but now in 2023, they have done us a favor and dropped it down to $430,000. If the average home price is $430,000, realistically, our mortgage payment on that house would be $4,900, which means we'd have to buy a house with three of our friends. And so when you look at our hardship financially compared to baby boomers, they would save up money for a year and be able to pay for a house in cash in the 70s and 80s. But now we're having to jump into 40-year loans. JP Morgan just put out a new 40-year product, so that way we'll be able to afford more house. But will that really help us, or will that set us back? Will we ever be able to really save up enough down payment so we can actually afford to buy a home? Or will we have to take out a down payment assistance program just so we can default on the loan and the bank takes the property and we never end up passing along property like our grandparents? This is a huge issue I think we really need to start to address and get smart about how we're buying real estate. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I have been able to do it. At this point, we still have over 60 properties and I'm still buying properties every single week. Actually, just today, I was able to lend money on a property for someone to buy and sell and be able to get paid an interest off the money that we lent. So is it possible? Yes, but you guys need to learn how to do it differently. I encourage you to tap in and subscribe, learn how we're going direct to seller, learning how to use some sales negotiating and marketing tactics so that way we can get paid to buy houses, so that way you don't have to live a life of discomfort. All of those dreams and ideas are real, they're yours. Let's figure out a way that we can afford them so that way we can go out and live.